Hey everyone, and welcome to our next new project. For this project, we will be creating low poly art out of the portrait of an animal. I have provided 4 pictures of an animal that you can choose from, and that includes a lion, an eagle, a cat, and a fox. If you want to choose another animal as your image, you can feel free to do so. What you want to do if you're choosing a picture of another animal is go ahead and open up a new tab and search for the animal that you'd like to find. In my case, let's say I want to find a lion. When you go to images, the first thing you need to do here is go to tools, then size, and then click on large. The reason being is we want to make sure right off the bat that we're looking for pictures that are very, very high quality. So in this case, with our project, you also want to find a picture that hasn't been cut off. So if the top or the bottom or the sides of the face and portrait have been cut off, you want to avoid those, such as this one or this one even. You want to avoid them. You want to just make sure you get an image that has that full animal's face not cropped and inside of it. You could use this one if you'd like to. This is a female lion. And the reason being is because the picture of the lion has it looking straight at the camera. So its face looks very symmetrical. Another example of a picture you can use is this one over here. It's very much not cropped, and you can kind of focus on the lion's face and then pick out the parts that you want and don't want. You just want to make sure it's nice and, again, symmetrical. The animal is looking straight at the camera and none of the edges are cropped. In my case, though, I won't be using any of these other pictures. I'll just be using the picture of the cat that I provided for you guys. So similar to our last project, we are going to be starting a new file for this low poly art project. In order to start a new file, we're going to go to File and then click New. And we're going to set this up in a way that you would be able to print it later on and retain the high quality that it has on the web. So I'm going to go ahead and just name it right off the bat. Last name, first name, low poly art. My width will be set to 11 inches. Height will be set to 17 inches. And DPI, this is very important. You want to make sure your DPI is set to 300. And just double check and make sure that your units are set to inches here. And now we can go ahead and press create. So now you'll be presented with a blank white canvas just like this. The next step is to put our image of our animal into our canvas. So I will go to File, Open and Place. And I'm going to find my image, which is this cat, and press open. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, hold shift on my keyboard, and enlarge this photo of the cat. I do want it to go ahead and fit in pretty much my whole canvas. I'm going to focus on just the cat's face so I can afford to make this really, really big. Kind of like that. And for now, you just want to do your best to get this cat's picture centered. I am going to rotate it a little bit too, so it's nice and straight. And it's expected if it's a little bit laggy on Photopea, that's totally fine. And once you're happy with it, go ahead and just click on that check mark to end your selection. Now what we want to do is find the center of this canvas vertically and horizontally. In order to do this, we are going to first make our rulers visible, and then we'll create what are called guides. So we need to go to View, Show, and just double check and make sure that your guides is checked on. If it is, then leave it alone. If you don't see the check mark, then you'll click it. And now we're going to go to View and then click on Rulers. The shortcut for that is Control-R for Chromebooks and Windows and Command-R for a Mac. My rulers are set to pixels. This personally annoys me, so I'm going to change it to inches, but you can skip this step if you want to. I just need to right-click and set it to inches. And now I'm going to click and drag from each of these rulers to create a vertical and a horizontal guide. To create a vertical guide, I will click and drag from my vertical ruler, which is this guy. So I'm going to click and drag this blue line, and my canvas is 11 inches wide, and half of that is 5.5. You can see it'll also snap to 5.5. And you can see the number right here next to my mouse as well. It says 5.500 inches. And then I'll let go. And then I'm going to do the same from my horizontal ruler up on top. I will click and drag down. And my canvas is 17 inches tall, and half of 17 is 8.5. So I will click and drag to about 8.5 and then let go. For future reference, you don't have to worry about guides getting printed. They're just there to help you, but they won't get printed or be visible when you save your final version of your project. So now that I have my two guides and I found the true center of my canvas, I'm gonna adjust the picture of the cat and make sure it's nice and dead center, like the whole head of the cat is dead center. So I'm on my move tool. I will just click and drag it and get it right in the middle so it's perfectly symmetrical. And I think that looks good to me. So now that we have our image dead center according to our guides, we need to turn on what's called the grid. The grid will ultimately help us and kind of serve as this guide or template to our clicks that we use with the tools we're supposed to and when we make our polygons. So first we need to turn the grid on so we can see it by going to View, Show, and then Grid. And we want to make sure that the grid is set to the correct size. Now in my case, mine is already set, but for you guys, you'll want to go to Edit, Preferences all the way at the bottom, and then under Grid Type, you want to make sure it's set to Square. And for grid gap, all of ours will be the same. We want to set it to 66 pixels, not inches or any of these other units. You want to make sure it's 66 pixels. And then once you've set that, go ahead and just press the X to exit out of it. And we are almost ready to go. In the next video, I'll show you guys how to start isolating the head of your animal and then deleting one half of it so we can start creating a symmetrical image. I'll see you on the next one.